Hi everyone, welcome to Positive Continent News. I am your host Alima, and thank you for joining me for the latest update. If you are tuning in, that means you're tuned into a high vibrational, futuristic frequency. You believe, not you remember, or maybe you do remember from the past, that the continent is the future, that all things are possible, and that the continent's children will eventually return to build her up. I've been going through a spiritual transformation, so I've kind of been laying low. I had some health issues going on, and with my spiritual transformation, I've been getting closer to God. You can say I had a spiritual clean sweep and more focused on fulfilling my destiny without any more distractions. So, applause for that. I have a lot of background in various religions, specifically in Christianity, indigenous religions, and in Islam, especially. And I feel so much better now, must I say. So, with this new frequency, I'm doing a clean sweep in my life as well. Clean sweeping debris that no longer needs to be there. So, I'm going to talk about an update, but I want to focus on right now about what's going on in my life and the future and direction of this channel. I no longer have a TikTok. It's been deleted. I don't want to waste time on platforms or anywhere where I'm not appreciated. I have this thing where a lot of energy and efforts that I've put out have been copied. And this is even by people that I personally know. And never have I ever been given credit and or given any type of, you can say, big ups like, hey, I admire your work. I admire this that you're doing. And I just want to let you know that I did copy this, but you're inspirational. You know, I'm no longer putting myself or allowing my art or any creative endeavors that I make to be copied and just distributed around as if it didn't come from me, with no type of compensation and or at least giving the credit where it's due, or at least telling me that it's inspirational. And this is in all aspects of my life, let me add that for sure. So I'm not on TikTok because TikTok is a very interesting platform. TikTok does what TikTok wants to do. If it wants to put your information out there, it would allow the algorithm for your information to be put out there. If it doesn't, then it's not out there. And I've definitely tested that platform a lot, and I know this for a fact. So I read an article from BBC, and I'm going to just go ahead and pull it up because I do not remember the title at this point. The title of the article is Born in France, but Searching for a Better Future in Africa. Let me say that BBC is majorly side-eyed by me because of the agenda that they are definitely portraying with the type of media that they put out. But I did enjoy reading this story. I'm going to attach a link to this video. This article has 3 writers. And let me just say, there's the immigrant experience. There is the experience of people of color, then there's the Black experience, and then there's the experience of people from the continent. And to me, there's no comparison to the Black continental, whatever, Black African experience. Me being a first generation person of African descent or from the continent, let me say there's no other experience like this. There is definitely a hierarchy, and being Black, number one, and being Black and from the continent, or what we know as Africa, is a whole different experience. So I want to give people who understand this experience and know this experience a chance to express themselves. I'm sorry for the background noise. I am outside. A chance to express themselves freely on this platform and on this video, because it's time to unpack. So with this article, they were speaking to 3 first-generation people from France. Their origins were in Senegal and the Congo. And they planned, or they had already moved back to their countries of origin and or Senegal, because I believe the Congolese person was going to Senegal. Senegal has become like a mecca of Francophone Afrique, you can say. France at the time has really put money and effort into that country. So the city of Dakar, the capital, is very westernized at this point and very, quote, developed. And we'll delve further into that later. So these people are explaining their issues with the racism in France, which many people are oblivious to because France basically has a different face that they show to the public, but it's a very racist country. And for the people that live there, they have a universalistic approach to their immigration. You basically can be considered French, but you have to leave your history and your origins behind. It's a universalistic approach. So, unlike many of us first generation people of the continental descent living here in America, particularly, we were never considered really American. We were told we were African. At least that's what I was told. I was even told that I wasn't black. So, in this article, there is the delving into what am I really and where do I belong? Because when you go back to the continent, they'll say that you're westernized and that you're not American. I mean, you're not from the continent or your countries of origin, because our mindsets are different. We're not completely based in our cultural identity, or you can basically say cultural identity. There's things, we have a broader mindset about things such as religion, gender roles, sexuality, etc., okay, in education. So these people are unpacking this in this article, and they feel like it is safer to be in their countries of origin, despite there being a little bit of turmoil, you can say at times, even if it's internal, of fitting in, because you're considered westernized when you do move back to your country of origin, versus dealing with the racism that can become deadly in the country of France. So I'm opening up the space to other first generation people from the continent, whether you're living in Europe, in the West, Europe, America. If you're in Australia, you can chime in. I would also be interested in hearing from the perspective of people living in Asia, in the Middle East too. What are your plans? Are you planning on going back to your countries of origin on the continent? Because we know that we're in a monumental time, or if you have not, we are in a monumental time. We are in a pivotal time where people are realizing that the scraps that they're being given in these other countries, they can do more in their countries of origin than living in the West. The first generation experience is traumatic. I am still dealing with my traumas personally of being a first generation American, particularly of continental descent. So I want to hear other people's perspective. Are you planning on going back? For me, the goal has always been to do that. For those of us living in America, things are drastically changing. And if you can't see what's coming, I mean, it's blatantly obvious. And some of us are familiar with these stories being told in other continents, which is, when is it time to leave here? When is it time to build where your people are from? When is it time to build the continent? So I would love for people to read the article and come back and tell me what you think about moving back to the continent. And also, I want to unpack the experience of being first generation, in my particular case, America, of what I wanted to add to the video as well, that living in the United States, living in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, or you can say Northeast, like New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, those type of places, is where I felt the most at home with being a product of immigrants. I love New York. People say that that city is dirty as hell, and it is, but it's a gritty beautifulness that I've always resonated with, and aliveness, because New York is where foreigners thrive in this country. And I believe that's why many people hate New York, because there's a place for all different various foreigners to thrive and grow in throughout New York City and the tri-state area. So I just wanted to give that perspective to people living outside of the United States. If you hear people talking really bad about New York, yes, it's dirty, but it was a place and is a place where foreigners can thrive, and also multi-generational Americans, they kind of coexisted with respect. And that's at this point the only place that I've really felt that. Living in the Washington, D.C. metro area is this is the capital of the country, and it represents what America is. So it's very political, and this is the place that I felt very aware of my social statuses, is living in this area with xenophobia, colorism, sexism, and racism. So I would love to add this. I am going to add this to the video too. But yeah, just to give people perspective who have never been to New York City or are from another part of the United States and or in descent. Like I said, I am unpacking the trauma that being othered, being left behind, being not included, and now that people are opening their eyes to the beautiful contributions that the continent has made and continues to make and was never given credit for. Now there's a circling back of people wanting to come back, in my life in particular, wanting to include me, in which I'm not taking it. I want to know what your experience is when you're not being or we're not being taken serious in your friend circles, in your dating circles, etc. Being that you are othered as a first generation person from the continent, wherever you live, I would love to see. We need to unpack this because this is traumatic. And now there's, like I said, a circling back. Now people want to include people in the conversations. Now everyone's a fan of you. In my particular case, that's what I've experienced. How are you dealing with this? How are you all dealing with the trauma of being othered as a Black person, dealing with racism, dealing with xenophobia and other isms inside of being a first generation product of the continent? What are your plans for moving back? Are you building businesses? Are you retiring there? What are we planning on doing as a community? Because our experience is unique. So I just wanted to touch base with that with this story and also what's going on with me personally, my spiritual transformation, not allowing myself to all of a sudden be pulled into circles that I was no longer, that at one point I wasn't invited into, now that people have a new view of the continent, right? And what else can I say? Just unpacking the trauma, because it's been very traumatic for me particular. So first generation people from the continent, wherever you reside, wherever you grew up, feel free to chime in. I would love to hear about your experiences, and let me speak blessings onto this page that it continues to grow with the right people, because I've known people personally that do not support. It's a lot of watchers, but they won't like my stuff, but they won't share it, but they'll sit here and share another person's. But that's what people say, that people in proximity with you, they will not support you, but they'll support a complete stranger. So we're getting rid of all that toxic energy off of the page, and I'm welcoming new followers and a new energy onto the page of people who support my vision and want to help me grow and believe in the future of us and our continent and the knowledge that I'm sharing, because there's no other channel like this. And if and when another channel pops up like this, there's going to be nobody that's going to be able to present the information in the way that I present it, because I've acquired a lot of knowledge about this continent that I love so much. And I look forward to taking this journey, travel videos coming, a whole bunch of different things coming. All right, so like, share, and support, and subscribe if you support my vision in this channel. I am Lima P, signing off, Village. Until next time, I will be in proximity. Be blessed.